Welcome to the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert here on the CTM News Network, the voice of truth. In the news today, this was just very irritating when I saw this, but Gavin Newsom has received, through his family and different other people, up to $3 million from the last PPP program distribution through the Coronavirus Relief Fund, through a company called Plump Jack Group, which is headed by the governor's sister. $3 million, I don't want to spit out the exact amounts, but there's several different companies this was distributed across that were under this organization, which Gavin Newsom's sister is in charge of. He has ties to all of it, and this is another reason why they're trying to remove or recall this dictator from office. He needs to be recalled as governor of California. He is a criminal. He is a dictator. He's destroying our Constitution, what he's doing. I'm still upset with the Supreme Court because they need to step in and deal with these things going across this country that are unconstitutional. They need to bring cases themselves when they see constitutional law being violated. I need to do some research into that and see if they have the ability to do that. Maybe they don't. Gavin Newsom and his crew there are ignoring our constitutional rights when they were elected to protect the people. 800,000 signatures have been claimed. This is Democrat governor too, by the way, Gavin Newsom. And the mayor there also is a Democrat in the areas, Democrat mayors there. But 800,000 signatures have been put out to recall Governor Gavin Newsom. Some of the information we're getting from NTD. But also on the NDAA, the United States National Defense Bill that just was passed by Congress and the Senate. President Trump, as we've heard already, says that he's going to deny or veto the bill because it has ties with communist China. And it would benefit them most of all, this bill would. And he will not allow it to pass. He will veto it. He said if it comes across his desk, he will veto it. Also, right now, Twitter and YouTube are in the news right now. Don't shut me down while I'm preaching good new YouTube, but the fact of the matter is that you are restricting President Donald Trump's post or putting tags on it just because he says that there's government voting irregularities and there's fraud. It has been clear evidence of fraud. Yet we still have the social media constantly still doing the same thing and trying to say that these reports are false when they're affidavits that have been put out legally by individuals. So if people are calling these reports false, they're calling the American people liars. Because these reports are not generated by Donald J. Trump. They were generated by people. Some not even necessarily Republicans. It's Democrats or people who saw irregularities. They just report. Some are just independents. People who just say, "Wait, this didn't look right, so I reported it to the board." Chairman of the Senate Homeland Security Committee, Ron Johnson, announced hearings last week to restore confidence in our American election process. And those hearings did begin, I believe, yesterday. Senator Johnson says that President Trump's campaign has brought up several issues, YouTube and Twitter, regarding election integrity that need to be addressed promptly. And now we have hearings on the issue. Now, these issues do not exist. Then why are we having issues on them? Why are we having hearings on them? Obviously, there's evidence to support these issues. So I wish the social media and these news companies would stop doing this and stop saying that this is false evidence. Let's wait for the evidence to be brought out so all the American people can hear. And I think a lot of it has already. Yet the social media and the fake news media, the mainstream media, refuse to acknowledge the affidavits, which are legal documents, by any witness that comes forward to make a statement. So why are we denying it? This is our legal process. If you're denying that, you're denying justice to American people. What do you look at somebody? What happens to innocent to proven guilty? What happens to that? People can't say anything. They can't make statements. If they make statements against what you think should be correct, all those you out there in the mainstream media or big tech, then you say, no, it can't be. It can't be. It's false. It's from Russia. It's from somebody else. But Senator Hartley said, we can't see states like Arizona and Georgia and Pennsylvania stopping the vote counts in the middle of the vote and not having eyes in both ballots, not allowing poll watchers from both parties to be present throughout the county. And this is what happened in Michigan and in Detroit, Michigan, and also Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. The voters, mainly GOP people, were blocked out from watching the poll, the counters. And he goes on to say, I mean, it has to change. We've got to make sure that these procedures are fixed so that we can have confidence going forward in our elections. And this is from one of the senators on the American U.S. Senate. Now, is he lying? Is he spreading false information because he's holding up to things that have affidavits that have been proven to have happened? In some states, in some ways, come on, guys, y'all need to stop this. You in social media. They got videos of the people pulling ballots from under the table after they force everybody out. So what are you going to do? Stand for a lie? And that's what we're seeing now. People willing to stand for lies when the evidence is clearly in front of you. You see the people pulling suitcases and briefcases from under the table full of ballots after they force everybody out that watches the ballots. Come on, media. Are you crazy? If it were President Donald Trump and it was him up, I bet you've been all over it. You would have been all over it, and you still would probably be talking about it to today, and you would have tried your best to prevent him from going into office. Several former top officials are expected to testify, including former head of Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, Crystal Krebs, and Ken Starr will testify on a personal capacity. Now, as far as this of course began yesterday on Wednesday, I believe. Was set to start on Tuesday, but I think it started on Wednesday. But also in the news today, we see here that on San Francisco YouTube, I know we're members of YouTube, I know our channels on there, and they do cheat in this country. And I'm not saying that all that do it are Democrats. There's some Republicans that lie too. But to state that you can't have your own opinion or you can't say what you want to say, just like they were trying to do with this coronavirus thing, telling people they couldn't bring a different viewpoint. And now we hear the viewpoints coming out now, and all the things that were reported before as misinformation has been proven to be true. You organizations, Facebook, YouTube, all of you need to stop jumping out supporting things that are later proven to be true. You're saying it's misinformation. Everybody said, well, Hunter Biden was Russian collude. Give me a break. Somebody got in Barr's pocket, and they were forcing him not to report it. But they already had Hunter under investigation. Why didn't the American people hear about it? Why didn't your ABC, NBC, and CBS and all them report on it? Why were they hiding the truth? That's because that's what they do a lot of the time. They hide the truth. You can block me you want, but I'll continue to talk about you because the thing is it's ridiculous. This has to stop. As an organization, as you people who are allowing people to come on and show that, stop acting like dictators. This is a country that has free speech. And a lot of you are going along with the communist viewpoint, which is to stop free speech, to stop the right to bear arms and to keep arms, and you're trying to stop religious freedoms. And a lot of you are behind it. You don't see any problem with it. You think it's okay. But I'm going to tell you, the reckoning is coming. The majority in this country, like it or not, they try to push over to whatever. The majority are conservative. And we're proving it in the streets of this country right now. You had your Antifa, your BLM, they come out there. Did you see the crowds that come out for the conservative viewpoint? Did you see them coming out? There's millions of them coming out. So our army is big. Those of you, Miss Johnson in Michigan, our army's big too. And remember, we support the Second Amendment rights as well. Even though you say you don't support it, but you ignore the fact that you have Antifa and BLM that were in these cities early in the summer carrying weapons. Let's move on. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with you here in a moment on the Black Conservative Voice on the CTM News Network, the voice of truth.
It's hard to believe that my opponents have been in office for 63 years. I've spent my life learning how to deal with large, complex situations like I found at Reebok and Dollar General. If these politicians had any understanding of the free enterprise system and knew how to make a difference, wouldn't they have done it already? Help me change the childish behavior up there. If we want different results in Washington, we have to send a different type of person to Washington. I'm David Perdue. I approve this message.
Did you know Kelly Loeffler was ranked the most conservative senator in America?
Yep, she's more conservative than Attila the Hun.
Fight China. Got it. Attack big government.
Yeah. Eliminate the liberal scribes.
More conservative than Attila the Hun.
Uh-oh.
Kelly Loeffler, 100% Trump voting record.
I'm Kelly Loeffler. I approve this message.
Welcome back. You're watching the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert here on the CTM News Network, the voice of truth. The Pfizer vaccine has come into question in Britain because of some unexpected results that have caused allergic reactions. Now they're urging people and they're recommending that if you have allergies, if you can avoid taking the vaccination, avoid taking it. Only if you have emergencies, you can take it, and it must be things that can help you with your allergies nearby if you're giving these vaccinations to deal with. Moving on, and this is a subject we were just discussing before the break. Now, I feel this way. I'm in a free country. People come to this country because we're supposed to be a free country. Yet you get the Democrats, the Democrats, what you want to call them, the Democrats trying to open our borders like nothing's there. And all the social media, oh, let's go along with this, open up the borders, open this. Let me tell you what it is. And I'm a conservative reporter. But I'm telling you, it's the dollar signs. It's all about the Benjamin. All about the Benjamins, they used to say. Dominion CEO John Polis. Listen to this. He denies vote manipulation despite the evidence. And you're going along with that social media? This man denying evidence, stuff that he said himself, been bought out in the media. His own big mouth got him in trouble. He said at one point that he could take 1 million votes in one name and move it to somebody else's name. Remember what I told you before. In these days and times, they consider the truth a lie and a lie the truth. These are the times we live in. How many people do you know that will admit to doing something wrong if they think they can get away with it? Do you know anybody? I don't know anybody. They're going to admit to doing something wrong when they're at detriment if they think they can get away with it. Or many police officers, you can affirm with me. You'll get a criminal, know he did the crime. Somebody saw him, they witnessed him, and he'll deny it to the hill. He'll deny it all the way up until they prove his butt's wrong. Or her butt. But this is a fact. Criminals will deny that they're lying or they're lying, they're deceit up until the last moment. So that's why it surprises me when you think for some reason, if there is fraud, I'm not saying there is, but if there is fraud, why do you think it's not possible? I'm a minister, I'll tell you right now. I'm a minister. The scripture says that we all sin and fall short of the glory of God. None of us are perfect. So when you say, no, this can't be, give me a break. Fraud exists everywhere. Now, as far as this election, I'm not going to make any statements on it because it's still in court. But despite claims of police internet archives show Dominion has SolarWinds logo on its webpage, which suggests it used a thing called managed file transfer. What does that mean? That means you can grab files and move it over here, grab file, move it over there. Managed file transfer. And also what it means is that it can be pulled out of the cloud from somebody else, which Miss Hillary Clinton's involved in it. She can pull something out and move votes herself. But the platform is called Serve You. Donald Trump stated in a tweet, which of course was blocked and misinformation, he stated in a tweet that he believed that the Dominion voting machines are a disaster all over the country and changed his landslide results to Biden's results. And I'm inclined to agree with him, especially since this man had nobody coming out, had 2% in the polls when he was out there running against his own people. Where did 80 million votes come from? Give me a freaking break. Deception. It is so clear in Michigan. Absentee voters, I mentioned this before, 1.8 million ballots sent out, 2.3 million or so came back. I'm going to say something here that may or may not be true. So this part I'm going to let you know, and then we're going to get back into what I know to be the truth. I'm going to say something here, like I said once again, that may not necessarily be true. Before the election in November, it was rumored that they knew Donald Trump would win in a landslide. But someone stated we have other quivers in our collection, or arrows, in their hand to challenge or change. This last part was alluded to by none other than the lady who admitted to holding back approval on stimulus funds just the other day to keep President Trump from getting credit, but not allowing people to have the help they needed. She told the truth. Biden, until after the election, she says now that we have a new president. That's why she's going to go along with it. Is that right, people? Is that integrity? What are we talking about in our voting? Isn't that integrity we're talking about? Yet we have a Speaker of the House that has no integrity. Let me tell you something about Miss Nancy Pelosi. Miss Nancy Pelosi, in an earlier time, she did a press conference before the election. Shortly before the election, she talked about the 25th Amendment, which involves the president becoming incompetent and the vice president taking over, and then the Speaker of the House would come in as the vice president. Let me tell you something. I told you this in one of my earlier programs. Nancy Pelosi was not talking about President Trump. They asked her if she was. She said no, she wasn't talking about him. She was talking about Joe Biden. It is obvious that Joe Biden has dementia. He's declining. I saw the man. He looked like some of the people that I used to minister to in the nursing home, who could barely walk, could barely get by. He is declining in years. He has dementia, and he's going down fast. She wants, and this is just speculation, I believe she wants him to be declared incompetent. And if he gets in there, he sits in there, I can almost guarantee you that at some point she's going to get peed off at him, and she's going to call him incompetent and then take it before Congress to have him declared incompetent so that she can have him removed from the presidency and put Kamala Harris as the president. Even Joe himself, obviously with dementia, had heard this somewhere because he came up in one of his speeches, actually a couple times, and called it President Kamala Harris. Tell me it's not true. He did. So, anyway, so what goes on after that is what? If that happens, then after that, Kamala Harris will be president. And guess who's next in line? The woman who's fighting to keep that Speaker of the House seat. She's fighting with tooth and nail, she's panicking. She was panicking after the election because they lost so many seats, trying to get that 118, I think it is, to maintain Speaker of the House. But our suggestion to the Democrat Party, get her butt out of the lead seat. Get her out of there. She's been screwing you around and screwing up this country. We need to have her removed from that seat. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back with you here on the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert in just a moment.
Meet Raphael Warnock. He wants you to know he eats pizza with a fork and a knife. He once stepped on a crack in the sidewalk. But Georgians don't care about that. Georgians care that Raphael Warnock was a proud defender of anti-American, anti-Semitic pastor Jeremiah Wright, who suggested America deserved the 9/11 terrorist attacks.
Not God bless America, God damn America.
We celebrate Reverend Wright.
Warnock said law enforcement officers are gangsters and thugs and a danger to children. He's anti-Israel, anti-Second Amendment, sympathizes with Marxists and socialists, and wants to make your neighborhoods less safe. Don't let him fool you with pizza and puppies. Raphael Warnock is too extreme for Georgia.
I'm David Perdue, and I approve this message.
John Ossoff and Chuck Schumer have been caught in a lie. Senator Perdue welcomed a full review of his stock trades, and the Department of Justice, the SEC, and even the bipartisan Senate Ethics Committee cleared him completely. Despite that, Ossoff and Schumer continue the lie, spending millions to hide their radical socialist agenda. What else are they lying about?
Welcome back. You're watching the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert here on the CTM News Network, the voice of truth. Now, we were talking earlier about Nancy Pelosi. She wants to be the vice president. She'd like to be the president. But if she could get Biden out of there, which she knew they were looking at Biden. They could tell Biden was declining. They were just hoping and praying he would make it through. When it came down to the last minute campaign, they had to fix in on the numbers. They had Biden, but Biden couldn't stand. He couldn't hold. He did interviews. He started sounding crazy. So they put him down, set him down, until they could get everything worked out. Sent Obama out to work for him. Man, this thing, I don't know what nobody else sees, but to me it looks like the mob. That's what it looks like to me. It looks like the mob. Oh, he can't handle it. You better get in there, you take it. You cover it up, and then we can deal with it once it's all said and done. This is pretty much what's happening. At least from my perspective. This is not the views of CTM or its affiliates. This is David Colbert, the Black Conservative Voice. You know, in the old days, in this country, my mom used to do this. She used to watch a thing called The Stories in this country, or what's called novellas in Spanish. People, I have a discerning ability above natural from above. What you see going on around us is the stuff that novellas are made of. This is the stuff that the novellas are made of. This is just speculation, mind you, but the Democrats, I believe, held something over A.G. Barr's head. That is why he did not release that information on Hunter Biden until recently, that they were investigating him. How did we miss this, people? And why did it not come out till after Joe Biden was perceived to be the president-elect? They held it back from being released. What did they have on Bill Barr? Wish somebody would find out about that. Do some investigation and find out what they had on Bill Barr. Because I believe they had something on Bill Barr. That's the reason why he looked like somebody beat the crap out of him, and he looked down toward the end when he decided to resign. He resigned because they told him, you better stop this investigation right now and just get out of here. We got it under control. You don't think it happened? What did I tell you? The stuff of novellas, and mainly Spanish novellas, where they hold a gun to your head and tell you better get it straight. People have problems like Joe Biden, who cannot keep his hands off women. They showed it in commercials and everything else. Maybe we may have some clips we can play now, but maybe not. But people like Joe Biden, who cannot keep their hands off of people or off of women, they get into trouble. Most of the time you see them get pulled up on sexual misconduct or what do you call it? I don't know. They did it to President Trump, accused him had all these women popping up out of nowhere. I can guarantee you there's many more women on Joe Biden's side that can come out and speak against that. And maybe us as conservative reporters, maybe we need to get out and pull up some of those skeletons out of his closet if he's elected, so we can go on the attack and prove that he is a womanizer as well as you may think our president is, which I don't believe he is anyway. Maybe sometime in his life he was. And I noticed, have you? I believe there's a lot more to that story. It's a lot more to this Biden touching women and talk about babies grabbing a hold of his leg. I don't know, that tripped me out every time he said that. As a child, he just grabbed a hold of my leg. And all those statements that he made, poor kids is just as smart as, or just as good as white kids. Or, what's the other one? If you vote for Trump and don't vote for me, you ain't black. What I want you to know is this. If Biden does manage to make it to the White House, will talk show hosts and conservatives like me be silenced of our voices and not be heard on platforms for that purpose? And that's even platforms like the platforms I'm on now, where they create a censorship where they censor all conservative speech. I don't think it's going to happen because I believe our lobby is strong enough to stand up against it. But I do believe that they're on attempt. If they're attempting to take away our religious freedoms through America PAC, the secular Democrats telling President-elect Biden that he should block the words "In God We Trust," and he should stop that Christian nationalism, which is a national security threat. What do you think that is, people? As a Christian, we know about this. We've heard about this. The civil control vans coming out and locking you up because you profess Jesus. It's coming, people. Anytime you hear language like that coming from the secular Democrats, that Christian nationalism supporting Donald Trump is national security threat. What does a national security threat receive? It receives attention from the government. And they'll start going around. It may not happen yet, but eventually it will happen. I will continue to give summations of the facts or untruths. Will freedom of speech remain, or will we have to go house to house or in the dark alleys to share our opinions? Just kind of quoting what the people said, that if you take away Roe versus Wade, they have been performing abortions for years before Roe versus Wade. I want to tell you that right now. And not in dark alleys. They were doing it legally in hospitals under different names. Everybody avoids this. Everybody says there's no corruption, no fraud. I'm sorry. There were doctors doing abortions years ago. And now someone will tell you yourselves, those who are retired, a lot of them probably are dead now, but they were doing it in hospitals under another name. I'm not going to tell you the name because we know, some of us know what the name is. But the case was an attempt to make it a government control and bring government money into abortion. Also another way to hide money from you. This is why Planned Parenthood is all over the world. It's a financial thing, people. What did I tell you? It's always all about the Benjamins. Your taxpayer dollars, for the most part, are still supporting abortion. For us conservatives, us Christians, believe you, our taxpayer dollars are still supporting Planned Parenthood and all these places that do abortion. The language was enacted, but it was never finalized by the government. It was never finalized. Matter of fact, you can thank the Democrats for that. And every time it comes up, every time it comes up, they block it and they kick it off the table. And there's some now trying to strike the language from the bill so it can never be enacted. In other words, they're trying to end it so that the government will fund abortions in perpetuity. But I'm hoping that our conservative justices have the guts to stand up and at least change this thing with the constitutional rights, or the thing that's saying that we should be paying for something that we are against. This is Judeo-Christian nation. And it's weird. I'm hearing people saying, we should care about those who don't. Why do I care about those who don't believe? If you don't believe, who cares? If you don't believe, great. You can close your ears when you hear "In God We Trust," you secular Democrats, which I believe is the majority of them. So, once again, I want to thank you for joining us here on the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert. I do apologize if I offended anybody, but I do not go back on the statements that I made because they are true. I'm not lying. I'm telling the truth. Now, I told you at some point when some was speculation or rumored or whatever, but Miss Nancy Pelosi did say that she had more quivers in her little pack that she could use when it came to the election. She said it. I didn't. And the fact that Hillary Clinton and her gang are so close to Dominion, who are now being questioned about fraudulent voting systems, that's not me either. That's in the media. Did I say anything about Hunter Biden that it wasn't true? He's already under investigation. Now it's coming out after the election. Now let me ask you this question real quick and we'll close. If you were an American, even if you were a Democrat, would you support somebody who has already been found guilty of corruption? Yet Joe Biden is the big man. Joe Biden is the big man. In the letters and the emails that are sent between Hunter Biden and his affiliates in China and the Ukraine. Yet everybody's ignoring that. Like, oh, well, this is so-and-so, so-and-so. Let me tell you, it ain't over to the fat lady sayings, and you can call him President-elect Biden all you want. We have until January 6th. And I believe even then, if we're proving some stuff, we can still hold things up. Really, what I'd like to see is hand ballots done over again and just redo the whole freaking election. Because there's too much corruption in the whole process. Too many questions about illegal votes and legal votes. And whether it's fraud or not, I don't know. But I do know that there were illegal votes counted. There were dead people voting. Some had been dead for 10 years. People voting out of states that didn't even be not even in the jurisdiction anymore. When I came in my jurisdiction, I had to change my jurisdiction so I could vote. But yet we see all these irregularities going on, and the mainstream media wants to ignore it or say, oh, there's nothing going on, there's nothing going on. Give me a break. I still go with God. And God says, all have sinned, all fall short of the glory of God. Everybody has done something wrong. So don't try to say that nothing's going on. It may be one, it could be two, it could be three, but somebody caused something not to go the way it should have went in this process of this election, regardless whether you say it's all around or in certain areas. Well, once again, I want to thank you for joining us here on the Black Conservative Voice. My name is David Colbert, and we are on the CTM News Network. Like I said, sponsorships are available. We have commercial spots available, and our commercial spots are very cheap. If you want your business advertised, whether you like me or not, if you want your business advertised, you can advertise here on this channel at CTM News Network. Our viewership now has just risen up to 1 million, all the way up to 1 million folks view the programs on our channel. Of course, we're new, but we're continuing to move forward. Well, I want to thank you once more for listening. And check our email in the bottom. Send your comments there or comment in the comment spots here on Facebook, YouTube, wherever you want to comment at. And or also send an email. Let me know what you think about my reporting and what you see going forward. I know I'm not perfect. I know some of you may not necessarily agree with me. But this is my opinion. If you don't like it, turn it off. No, I'm joking. Well, I'm glad you all joined me here, and I want to say what I always like to say: God bless you, God bless America, and God bless the world. Until next time, this is David Colbert from the CTM News Network, the Black Conservative Voice, saying good night and God bless.